This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Okay, so Eddie Hearn has released the plan for Anthony Joshua in 2023, and he plans on Anthony Joshua fighting 3 times. Now, Anthony Joshua fighting 3 times in 1 year, that's good. He hasn't done that in a while. And I've been saying for a while, I think one of the things with AJ is that he has been too inactive. And I think that he'll probably be one of the first people to admit that. But his plans are, in April, a top 15 fighter. In the summer, a Dillian Whyte rematch. And later on in the year, either a Deontay Wilder or a Tyson Fury. Now, as far as his plan is concerned, him fighting 3 times, that's great. Now, I said some time ago that for me, I would like to see Anthony Joshua, whoever that he's now going to be training with, to use 2023 as a year to practice some of the things that he's been learning. Because ever since he fought, say, Dillian Whyte and then Charles Martin and became IBF World Heavyweight Champion, he's had a target on his back. He's been paying opponents ridiculous amounts of money. He's been having to pay sanction fees. He's been told who to fight because of the mandatories and things like that. Of course, he's been unifying and that as well. So maybe because he's had that target on his back, he hasn't had the kind of fights that a lot of fighters would have when you've only had 15, 16 fights, right? Use this time to really hone your craft to whatever it is that Anthony Joshua feels he hasn't been able to practice on because of the level of opposition that he's had to fight. Don't get me wrong, okay, he's had a couple of tickovers, if you like, say Eric Molina, for example. But really use 2023. That's why I said go on that world tour. You know, go fight a tough opponents, okay, but good opponents, like a Zhilei Zhang in China. Maybe if you want to get straight back in the title mix, go fight Filip Hrgović. Maybe you can do that in Croatia at the amphitheatre. Maybe a Dempsey McKean in Australia. Do something like that. That's what I would like to have seen. But the plan is what Eddie Hearn has just stated. The top 15 fighters. So who that's going to be, we're hearing it could be, say, Otto Wallin, for example, which is good. Anthony Joshua said he hates fighting southpaws. He fought 2 southpaws, to my knowledge, off the top of my head. Charles Martin, of course, he beat, and twice against Alexander Usyk. He says he doesn't like fighting southpaws because they do everything arse about face. So if he's going to fight Otto Wallin, that's a southpaw. That's good. Almost bury that one, okay? So if you're going to fight Otto Wallin, cool, no worries. Him then going to go fight Dillian Whyte. Listen, I've been wanting to see that rematch for quite some time. I like both fighters. Of course, Dillian, he's really my guy. But I really like both fighters. And I'd like, if them two are going to fight, then have something on the line. So I'd like to see either Dillian Whyte or Anthony Joshua get into a position where they can then fight each other for something meaningful other than just a fight. As in a final eliminator or a mandatory position, something like that. So hopefully one of these guys can get into that position before they fight each other. Now, according to Eddie Hearn, what the 3-fight plan is, obviously he expects Anthony Joshua to beat a top 15, whoever that's going to be, to beat Dillian Whyte, and if those 2 things happen, then fight a Fury or a Wilder. That last plan, I don't see happening. For a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't think either fighter really want to fight Anthony Joshua. They don't. For whatever reason it may be. But it's unlikely anyway, because if we look at Tyson Fury, for example, he's going to be fighting Alexander Usyk, by the looks of it, for undisputed, which is great, right? I really look forward to that fight. But win, lose or draw for Tyson Fury, it's probably going to be a rematch anyway with Alexander Usyk. So it's going to be a 2-way rematch no matter how the first fight goes. The second fight is probably not going to have undisputed on the line. The belts will then get dispersed. That's why I'm saying that either Dillian Whyte or Anthony Joshua can try and get into that position, maybe pick up one of them belts after the undisputed fight. But still, with 2 fights between Usyk and Fury this year, you can pretty much write Fury off. That's what he's going to do this year. He's not going to fight Usyk and then Joshua. Very, very unlikely. Okay, so that's probably Tyson Fury tied up for the year. When it comes to Deontay Wilder, there's been a plan for the past several months between the PBC and the WBC to create an only PBC mini tournament, hasn't there? Ruiz versus Ortiz, Wilder versus Helenius. Winners fight each other to become the WBC mandatory. The final part of that right now is Wilder versus Ruiz. Wilder, he doesn't get to choose as such who he fights. okay, he gets told who to fight. We can see that. Look at the receipts. So if the WBC and the PBC have already created this tournament for him to fight Andy Ruiz Jr. for the final eliminator to become WBC mandatory, that's the route he's going to have to go. And if Wilder was to, say, beat Andy Ruiz Jr., become WBC mandatory, therefore he would then be in line to fight whoever the WBC champion is, whether it be a fourth fight with Tyson Fury or a fight with Alexander Usyk. Do you think Wilder and the PBC would risk it to fight Anthony Joshua? Regardless of how you think that fight would go, it's still going to be a risk. Do you think that they would do that? No, they wouldn't do that. That's almost like handing Anthony Joshua a bone to say, well, I'm WBC mandatory, you fight me, but if I lose, you're then in that position. Do you think they're going to do that? Not a chance. So I don't see Joshua fighting Wilder or Fury this year. My honest opinion, if I'm wrong on that, I'm okay to be wrong on that. But as I said, there's no guarantees that this 3-fight plan that's currently in place is going to go right the way through. Is he going to go through the gauntlet? Whoever he fights in the top 15. Maybe Joshua doesn't win. He fights Dillian White. Maybe he doesn't win. So he may not even get to that part. But maybe we will. We don't know. So that's why I said in the beginning of the video, I'd like to see Anthony Joshua do a 2023 tour. Keep active. He doesn't have to fight a top 15 fighter. He can go fight Lucas Brown. You know, he can go fight Manuel Char. He can go fight these kind of guys because he has no sanctioning fees. He has nobody telling him who he has to fight and what kind of date he has to fight them by and all these other kind of things. He fight who the hell he wants to fight and practice. Use those things. Get to know your team. Practice those things on fight night. That's what I'd like to see him do. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Either way, it'd be good to see Anthony Joshua fight 3 times this year. That'd be great. And it'd be good for him too, to be active. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you in the next video.